Hello children, let's begin our maths class. Today we are going to continue with exercise 2.5 and we have only one sum left, yes children. So we have to complete that one sum, and with that one sum we complete our exercise 2.5. Write down your classwork, write down today's date, copy down the 9th question, so that was left out. Write down question number 9. Show that the equation z cube plus 2z bar is equal to 0 has 5 solutions. Show the equation z cube plus 2z bar is equal to 0 has 5 solutions. Okay, we have to show it has 5 solutions. So let us go with the answer part. Z cube plus 2z bar is equal to 0, yes? So what we are going to do first? So let's start with the answer. Z cube is equal to minus 2z bar. Just shift the plus 2z from LHS to the RHS. So you get z cube is equal to minus 2z bar. Okay, so now what are we going to do is, we are going to take the modulus on both the sides. Taking modulus on both sides, taking modulus on both sides. Okay, so what we get here? Modulus z cube is equal to modulus minus 2 modulus z bar. I am going to give a modulus for both the terms separately, for 2 separately and for z bar separately. I hope you are clear children. So modulus z cube is equal to modulus minus 2 modulus z bar. Okay. Now we have to use some of the properties. I have told you that you have to remember the properties for conjugates as well as for the modulus. So we have a property over here. This can be written as mod z the whole cube. Do you remember this property children? Yes, modulus of z raised to n can be written as modulus z the whole raised to n. Okay, so this is one of the property used. And also this is, what is the modulus of minus 2? We know that absolute value of any number, whether it is a positive number or either it is a negative number. So absolute value of minus 2 is going to be 2 and absolute value of plus 2 is going to be 2. So you get here 2 and modulus of z bar is equal to modulus of z. We have this property also, yes children. So we are going to use this property over here. So you get modulus of z. Are you clear children? So we started with z cube plus 2z bar is equal to 0. So we are splitting it. Z cube is equal to minus 2z bar. You're going to take modulus on both the sides. So modulus z cube is equal to modulus minus 2 modulus z bar. So we have a property. I'm using a property over here. So I get modulus z the whole cube. This is equal to modulus minus 2 is equal to 2. And modulus z bar is equal to modulus z. Okay children, so now what I am going to do is, again I am going to bring this to the LHS part. So you have to take down the property, you write down the property. Okay, so I get here modulus z cube minus 2 modulus z is equal to 0. Modulus z cube minus 2 modulus z is equal to 0. Okay children, just see here the step. So what I get here, here we have modulus z cube, that means we have 3 modulus z. Modulus z the whole cube minus 2 modulus z. I am going to take modulus z common. So what is left here? Modulus z square minus 2 is equal to 0. Are you clear children? So what are we doing here? We are taking modulus z common. So what is left here? Modulus z square minus 2 is equal to 0. So therefore modulus z is equal to 0 or modulus z square minus 2 is equal to 0. This is a simple or this is a normal factorization that we used to do. So modulus z is equal to 0 or modulus z square minus 2 is equal to 0. Therefore, z is equal to 0. So I have found one solution. The question was to show that it has 5 solutions. We have found one solution. What we have found? we have found that one value for z is 0, or z square is or I just put here minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay children, I'll just write this as modulus z square is equal to 2. Okay, so now we are going to apply the formula over here. I'm going to use a property over here. We have studied a property, modulus z square is equal to z bar. Do you remember this was the first property we have written for the modulus? Yes children? Modulus z square is equal to z into z bar. So write down here, z bar is equal to 2. I want the answer in terms of z. So z is equal to 2 upon z bar. So we have found the value for z, that is 2 upon z bar. Okay, you can find in two ways. You can find the value for z, or you can find the value for z bar also. I just write both the values. So whatever is used, we can write that value, or z bar is equal to 2 upon z. So whatever we need, if we need a z value or if we need a z bar value, we can take it. So just write down here. So how we have got, how we get z bar? We get from the property, modulus z square is equal to z bar. So z bar is equal to 2. So if you can write the answer, or you get the answer in terms of z or z bar. Z is equal to 2 upon z bar, or z bar is equal to 2 upon z. But this is not the answer, we have to arrive at the solution. So we have just found one solution. Just highlight this answer children, z is equal to 0. Z is equal to 0 is one of the solutions, just highlight it. Okay. So now what are we going to do is, we are going to substitute, I am going to substitute z bar is equal to 2 upon z in z cube plus 2z bar is equal to 0 in the question part. So we had this part in the question, z cube plus 2z bar is equal to 0 we had, yes children. So you are going to substitute the value for z bar. So what is this value for z bar? 2 upon z. So this is z cube you keep as it is, plus 2 into, what is z bar? 2 upon z. This is equal to 0. So z cube plus 4 upon z is equal to 0. Cross multiply, z raised to 4 plus 4 upon z is equal to 0. Therefore, z raised to 4 plus 4 is equal to 0. Are you getting my point children? So we factorized and we got the value for z, and we got z modulus z square is equal to 2, and with this property we got the value for z bar, that is 2 by z. I am going to substitute the value for z bar in the given question. So z cube plus 2z bar is equal to 0. So when I just go on substituting, I get the value as z raised to 4 plus 4 is equal to 0. Now here children, this is z raised to 4 plus 4 is equal to 0. So now what we are going to do is, we can write the answers directly because this is having the power 4. Yes children. So since it has the power 4, see, suppose we have an equation, okay, I'll just consider, if you have a quadratic equation, x square plus 3x, I'll give like this, 5x plus 6. What does it mean? How many values do you get for a quadratic equation? For a quadratic equation, you will get 2 values. Yes, children. Similarly, if you are dealing with a cubic polynomial, you will get 3 values. Now here you are dealing with a 4 quartic polynomial. What is that? Quartic, Q-U-A-R-T-I-C. This is 4. When the degree is 4, you have to call the polynomial as quartic polynomial. So when you have a quartic polynomial, how many solutions it will have? It will have 4 solutions. Are you getting my point? For the quadratic equation, you have 2 solutions. For a cubic polynomial, you will have 3 solutions, and for a quartic polynomial, you will have how many solutions? 4 solutions. Okay children, so you have to write down here, therefore it has 4 solutions. It has 4 solutions. So already we have found one solution. What was the one solution over here? Z is equal to 0. So we have found already one solution, and along with one solution, so now how many solutions you are going to get? 4 solutions. So 1 plus 4, 5 solutions. Yes. So let us write down the answer. Therefore, Z cube plus 2Z bar is equal to 0 has 5 solutions. That's all. They getting the point children? So already we have found one solution as Z is equal to 0, and so we have to finalize the answer saying that it has totally 5 solutions. So highlight this. So this is one solution and here 4 solutions. So totally 5 solutions. So what you can do is just you can give here number 1 children. So put here number 1 and take this as number 2. So Z4. So here we have 1. So here I am saying here 1 and here I am saying 2. So Z cube plus 2Z bar is equal to 0 has 5 solutions from 1 and 2. So from 1, 1 solution, and from 2, 4 solutions, totally 5 solutions. Right on the final statement. So you have to just mark the numbers, give the numbers so that it will be clear. So Z cube plus 2Z bar is equal to 0 has 5 solutions from 1 and 2. Okay children, so with this we complete our exercise 2.5. Before we go to exercise 2.6, we have some points to be taken down children. So let's take down the points. So you can refer page 73. Take down page 73. Have you taken on the sum children? Is the sum clear to you? A very easy sum. Okay, let us take down some of the points children. So that will be useful for us to solve exercise 2.6. Give the heading points to remember. Okay, so first point. The first point is for locus, and I have taken the point, or I have taken the definition from 11th standard. We had in 5th lesson. So I am just taking the point from 5th lesson, that is they have not given you the definition for locus in this textbook. So I have taken the definition for locus from the 11th standard textbook. So take down that as the first point. Write down. The path traced out. The path traced out by a moving point under certain condition is called the locus of that point. Right on the point children. So what is the meaning of locus? The path traced out by a moving point. Suppose here, consider a circle. Now suppose you have a, okay, we are going to trace out a path. Let us see what is the meaning of locus. The path traced out by a moving point under certain conditions. So under certain conditions, so you will be given some condition. Suppose I am fixing a point. Suppose whatever. Suppose you are going on moving the point. Okay, if you are just going on moving a point, and the path traced out by a moving point. So a point is moving, and a path, you are able to get a path. So the path which is traced out by a moving point. Okay, so whatever path you get by a moving point is called the locus, and that also you have to apply for certain conditions. That means the locus is different for different conditions. So you cannot say that the locus is fixed. Here, suppose here I am just moving the point in a circular way, so I get a circle. Okay, children, getting my point? You may move a circle in a semicircle way. So the locus is different for different condition. So just remember the definition. What is the meaning of locus? The path or the way. Suppose here we are taking a point, and the point, when the point is moving, what happens? You are able to get a path. Okay, children? So the path, the new path has been formed. So this path is formed under certain condition, and this is called as the locus of that particular point. I hope you are clear with the definition. Okay, so that was the first point. Now for second point, you are going to write down the definition for circle, and it is given in page number 73. So take down page number 73. You have a definition for circle there. You have a pink color box. Just see the pink color box, children. You have to write down the definition. Take down the definition, children, for circle. A circle is defined as the locus of a point which moves in a plane such that its distance from a fixed point in that plane is always constant. Write down the definition for circle. A circle is defined. A circle is defined as the locus of the point. As the locus of a point which moves in a plane, which moves in a plane such that its distance from a fixed point, such that its distance from a fixed point in that plane is always constant. Another definition for circle. A circle is defined. What is a circle? A circle is defined as the locus of a point. What is the meaning of locus? A path traced by a moving point which moves in a plane such that the distance from a fixed point in that plane is always constant. Right on the next point also, the fixed point is the center and the constant distance is the radius of the circle. The fixed point is the radius and the constant distance is the radius of the circle. So fixed point is the center. Yes, children? The fixed point. When you talk about a circle, the fixed point is called the center of the circle and the path and the constant distance. Now this point is going, this is a path, suppose. So it is going to move along the same distance. And what is this distance called? This distance is called as the radius. This is called, the fixed point is the center and the fixed distance or the constant distance is called the radius of the circle. Just refer the definition from your textbook, children. And the constant distance is called the radius of the circle. So the fixed distance, so it is going to move from the fixed distance. The fixed point, what is the fixed point called as? The fixed point is called as the center and the constant distance is called as the radius of the circle. Okay, children, have you taken on the definition for circle? Let us define the definition for circle. A circle is defined as a locus of a point. Okay, a locus of a point which moves in a plane. So a point or a locus of a point, or we can say locus, we can say location of a point which is moving in a plane such that its distance from a fixed point in that plane is always constant. So the distance from a fixed point, the distance from a fixed point, the distance from a fixed point, the distance from a fixed point. So distance is always constant. And now what is the fixed point called as? The fixed point is called the center and the constant distance is called the radius. So this is the definition for circle. Okay. Now we have 2 more points to be taken down, children. Let us take the next point. Write down. Third one. Modulus of z minus z naught is equal to r. Write down. Third point. Modulus of z minus z naught is equal to r is the complex form of the equation of the circle. Is the complex form of the equation of a circle. Is the complex form of the equation of the circle. Okay, so this is the third one. So modulus z minus z naught is equal to r is the complex form of the equation of a circle. Take our next two more points, children. Modulus z minus z naught less than r. Modulus z minus z naught less than r represent the points interior of the circle. So this was the definition for locus. I told you we have used from our 11th standard textbook. So definition for circle, and this is the equations. Remember the equation of a circle, children. What is the complex form of the equation? The complex form is z naught, that is modulus of z minus z naught is equal to r. Remember the condition, mod of z minus z naught is equal to r. That is the complex form of the equation of the circle. So mod of z minus z naught is equal to r. Remember the equation of a circle. And if you have, that is if you get the answer less than r, okay, if you get the answer less than r, that means you are talking about the interior points of the circle. Like you have a circle, so you will be talking about the interior point of the circle. And similarly, if you have the modulus value greater than 0, if the value is greater than r, see, if it is less than r means it will be lying inside the circle, yes children? And if it is r, that means it will be lying on the point. And if it is greater than r, so if it is greater than r, the points will be lying on the exterior of the circle. So you have to remember the two conditions. So if mod of z minus z naught is less than r, it represents the points interior of the circle. One more point, the last point. So mod z minus z naught greater than r represents points the point interior of the circle, represents the point exterior of the circle. Okay, children, so modulus z minus z naught greater than r represent the point exterior of the circle. So you have to remember this condition. Remember, so if you get the value of z minus z naught is equal to r, that means where is the point? The point is on the circle. This is z minus z naught is equal to r. And if you have z minus z naught less than r, that means the points will be inside. Z minus z naught less than r. And if you have z minus z naught greater than r, the points will be lying outside. So you have to remember the condition. They may ask you, we have this type of question in the solved example. They will be asking the position of the points. So you have to find out the value and you have to get the answer. Are you getting my point, children? So if it is equal to r, it will be on the circle. Less than r, inside the circle. Greater than r, outside the circle. Just keep the points in your mind. Write down the points, children. So always you have to go through the points. The points are important, you know. You know how the points can be asked. So you have to apply the points. So once you're clear with the concept, the exercise becomes easy. Yes, children? Yes. Shall we proceed with the next exercise, children? Shall we start exercise 2.6? Okay, let us start with 2.6. Give the heading exercise 2.6. Give the heading exercise 2.6. Two 2.6 is an easy exercise, and just you have to just think and you have to apply very easy. You have to apply the formula of the modelers and you have to just apply all the exercise over here. So you have to apply the concepts that we have studied in the previous part of the lesson. Okay, let's begin exercise 2.6. Give the heading 2.6. State on the first question, if z is equal to x plus iy, if z is equal to x plus iy is a complex number such that modulus z minus 4i upon z plus 4i is equal to 1, show that the locus of z is real axis. Okay. Let's continue with the answer, children. 2.6, the first question. They have given that z is equal to x plus iy is a complex number, and also they have given you a condition modulus z minus 4i upon z plus 4i is equal to 1. This is the condition given to you. Modulus z minus 4i upon z plus 4i is equal to 1. Okay, children, so now what are we going to do? We are going to apply the property. I have told you that we are just going to, one exercise is not a new exercise at all. We have to link the exercise with the remaining concepts, or we have to take the concepts from the previous exercise. So here we have modulus of z minus 4i upon z plus 4i. So now what are we going to do is, now we have a property. If you have a modulus for both the numerator and denominator together, you can write this as modulus z1 upon modulus z2. Do you remember this property, children? Yes. So if you are having a modulus together, like mod of z1 upon z2, it will be taken as modulus z1 upon modulus z2. Are you clear, children? Okay. So we are going to apply this property. Let us apply the property. So what do you get here? Mod of z minus 4i upon mod of z plus 4i is equal to 1. Clear? Okay, so now what are we going to do here is, we are going to apply the formula. Let us apply the formula. We know the value for z. Yes, children? What is the value for z? X plus iy. So I am just going to put the value of z over here. Let us put the value. Therefore, x plus iy minus 4i modulus x plus iy plus 4i is equal to 1. Are you clear? Split it. Substituting the value for z. Done till here, it's clear to you? Okay, now we are going to apply the formula. What is the formula for modulus of z? Tell me the formula for modulus of z, children. What is the formula for mod of z? Yes, square root of x square plus y square. And what is conjugate of z? X plus iy. If you have z is equal to x I, then z bar is equal to x minus iy. So remember for conjugate and remember for modulus. What is modulus of z? Square root of x square plus y square. And what is conjugate? X minus iy. Clear? Okay. So I am going to apply the formula. Before I apply the formula, we have one work to be done, because see, modulus of z is square root of x square plus y square. That means you are going to square the real part and you are going to square the imaginary part. Yes, children? So first of all, here everything is splitted. Yes? So try to group the real part separately and try to take the imaginary part separately. So I'll get, therefore, x is a real part, so I'll keep x alone, plus I'll take the imaginary part I common, I, what is left here? Y minus 4 upon, again split the real part and the imaginary part, so x I'll keep as it is, plus I, what is left here? Y, and what is left here? 4. So you get here I, y plus 4. This is equal to 1. So modulus of x plus I, y minus 4 upon x plus I, y plus 4 is equal to 1. So now we are going to apply the formula. So I get here square root of, you know the formula for modulus z? Remember the formulas? X square plus y square, that is square root of x square plus y square. Okay. What is x square here? X square plus y square. Y square means you have to take the imaginary part. Don't take I. We are not going to focus on I. We are going to focus on the imaginary part. That means y minus 4 the whole square upon x square plus y plus 4 the whole square. Are you clear, children? Are you getting my point? See. So square root of x square, that is square root of the real part plus the imaginary part. So x square plus y minus 4 the whole square upon square root of x square plus y plus 4 the whole square. This is equal to 1. So next you are going to take the denominator to this side. So 1 into the denominator, the same number. So you get x square plus y minus 4 the whole square is equal to, it's going up, run properly, x square plus y plus 4 the whole square. It's looking little. It was correct, children, don't just, it looking slanting, so I'm just correcting it properly. X square plus y minus 4 the whole square upon okay. So I'm just cross multiplying. So square root of x square plus y minus 4 the whole square is equal to square root of x square plus y plus 4 the whole square. This I have just cross multiplied. I have just taken the denominator to the RHS side. So we have not done till now. We have to just move further. So now what are we going to do is we are going to square on both sides. So squaring on both sides. Squaring on both sides. So when you square on both sides, what happens? The square root and the square root goes off. So you get x square plus y minus 4 the whole square is equal to x square plus y plus 4 the whole square. Are you getting my point, children? So when you square on both sides, what happens? The square root and the square root goes off. And what is left? X square plus y minus 4 the whole square is equal to x square plus y plus 4 the whole square will be left out. Okay, now let's try to cancel out the common terms and let us try to expand the expansions. So this, I'll cancel x square and x square. So I'm going to expand the expansion here. Y minus 4 the whole square. A minus b the whole square. What is a minus b the whole square? A square minus 2ab plus b square. And what is a plus b the whole square? A square plus 2ab plus b square. I'll just expand it. So y square minus 2 into a into b. So 2 into 4 into y. 2 into 4, 8. 8y. Plus b square. 4 squared, 16. So y square plus 2 into a into b. 2 into 4 into y. So 8y plus 16. So y square goes off. 16 goes off. So minus 8y. Bring this 8y to the side. Minus 8y is equal to 0. Minus 16y is equal to 0. Therefore, y is equal to 0. We have not still done. We have to write one more step. So I have just solved it. So when I square it, I just get a term, that is square root will be removed. Then go on simplifying. When you simplify, you get the value for y as 0. So now what was the proof? What is the thing that you have to show, children? You have to show that the locus of z is a real axis. It is a real axis. So write down, since y is equal to 0, locus of z is a real axis. And if you get x is equal to 0, you have to say that locus of z is a imaginary axis. Okay, children? Since y is equal to 0, we can say locus of z is a real axis. Clear, children? So we have completed the first question. Okay. Let us go for the second question. Take down the second question. Okay, children, before I go to question number 2, I would like you to complete sum number 4 as homework. Your homework is exercise 2.6, question number 4. Question number 4 is to find out whether it is a circle, whether it represents the circle, and also you have to show that, also you have to find the center and the radius. And you have the same type of question in page 74. You have to refer example 2.19. So you are going to refer example 2.19 and you are going to complete the question number 4. So you have totally 3 subparts under question 4. So you have to complete question number 4 as your homework. Okay, children? Okay. Now let's proceed with question number 2. Write down question number 2. If z is equal to x plus iy is a complex number such that I am, what do you mean by I am? The imaginary part of 2z plus 1 upon iz plus 1 is equal to 0. Show that the locus of z is 2x square plus 2y square plus x minus 2y is equal to 0. So this is what we have to show. Let us go for the sum, children. Let's start with the work. Shall I rub the board? Have you taken on the sum? Is the sum clear to you, children? You are all brilliant people, yes, children. So you know everything. All are smart, all are brilliant, all are experts, all are mathematicians. Yes, children? Yes. So you know everything. So only one thing is you have to be going on practicing a lot and you're going to score more marks. Just keep in your mind, you have to practice a lot. That's all. Let's go out, or let's move out for the second sum. So they have given you the value for z. Z is always taken as x plus iy. This is the normal rule of a complex number. and you have been given a condition imaginary of, what is that children? 2z plus 1 upon iz plus 1. 2z plus 1 upon iz plus 1 is equal to 0. So we are just going to continue with the sum, and what is the thing we are going to show? And they have given you an equation for the locus. In the previous case they said that show that it is a real axis. So we just got the value for y is equal to 0 and we showed that it was a real axis. Yes, children? So here they have given you an equation, so we have to find out the answer. Okay, let's start with the work. Imaginary of 2z plus 1 upon iz plus 1 is equal to 0. If you want, you will write one more step. This is given to us, and write down here to show, write down to show 2x square plus 2y square okay, so this is what we have to show. 2x square plus 2y square plus x minus 2y is equal to 0. So we have to show this as the locus of the z. Okay, this locus of z. So this is what we have to show. Shall we start with the solution, children? Write down solution. Imaginary 2z plus 1 upon iz plus 1 is equal to 0. We are going to just focus on the imaginary part. Until and unless we take the imaginary part, you have to go on writing imaginary. Okay, children? So imaginary 2z plus 1 upon iz plus 1 is equal to 0. The first step is just go on substituting the value that we know. I know the value for z. So imaginary 2 x plus iy plus 1, yes, upon I x plus iy plus 1 is equal to 0. 2 x plus iy plus 1, I x plus iy plus 1 is equal to, is the step clear? You are going to follow the steps along with me. Have you taken the given part? Have you taken on the to show part? Have you taken the solution part? Have you substituted the value, children? Okay, very good. You are very fast. Very good. Let's proceed further. So what do you get here? Therefore, imaginary. I am going to just open the bracket, children. 2 into x. 2x plus 2iy, okay, plus 1 upon ix. This is I square y. I square y means I into I. You know the value for I square. What is the value for I square? I square is equal to minus 5. Remember this value, children? I square is equal to minus 1. So minus 1 into y minus y plus 1. Okay. So we have just expanded. We are just opening the bracket. So 2 into x, 2x. 2 into iy, 2iy. Then plus 1. This 2 is only for this bracket, children. So do not mingle this. 2x plus 2iy plus 1 upon ix minus y. How I get minus y? I square is minus 1. It's minus y plus 1 is equal to 0. So now what are we going to do here is, we are going to try to write down this as in the form of complex number, the real part and the imaginary part. So imaginary, let us group it properly. So take the real part, 2x plus 1 without I plus I 2y. Are you getting the point, children? 2x plus 1 plus I 2y upon 1 minus y. I am just writing 1 minus y, and this is plus ix. Okay, children? So what we have done, we have grouped the real part and the imaginary part separately. So what is the real part? Without I. So 2x plus 1, I 2y. 1 minus y plus ix. But that's all. Now what we have to do, we have to get the equation. Yes, children? So now what are we going to do is, and whenever, that is when we solve the sum, I have told you, don't keep the imaginary part in the denominator. So we have to remove the imaginary part from the denominator. So how to remove the imaginary part from the denominator? You have to multiply and divide by the conjugate. Just what is the term? You are going to multiply and divide by the conjugate. So let's do the work. How to find the conjugate, children? The conjugate will be 1 minus y. In place of plus, you are going to put minus ix. That's all. Very easy. How to find the conjugate? Change the sign of the imaginary part. So you are going to change this plus as minus. So let's go with the work. So imaginary 2x plus 1 plus I into 2y 1 minus y plus ix. This is the original part. I am going to multiply and divide by the conjugate of the denominator. That is 1 minus y minus ix upon 1 minus y minus ix. Are you clear? It's very simple step. Just multiplying by the conjugate. You know the meaning of conjugate? You have to change the sign of the imaginary part. Okay, now let's proceed with the further part. Now if I just go on multiplying, I will just go on multiplying. But here the question is to focus only on the imaginary part. So we are going to focus only on the imaginary part. So put your pens down, children, and listen to the point carefully. Put your pens down and listen to the steps. Understand the step carefully. Okay, so now what are we going to do here? We are going to focus on the imaginary part. What do you mean by imaginary part? You have to get the terms with I. You have to get the terms with I. Okay. Suppose, see here, these terms are there. So we are going to multiply. This multiplying means you will get more terms. Since we are just dealing with the imaginary part, we are going to choose the imaginary part. See here. So you have to choose a number in such a way that you get I. See here carefully. If I multiply 2x plus 1 and 1 minus y. I have told you to put your pens down and listen to me carefully. If I multiply 2x plus 1 with 1 minus y, I am not going to get a I term. Because here also I is not present. Here also I is not present. So we are not going to get I if we take 2x plus 1 and 1 minus y. Are you getting my point, children? Yes. So we are not going to take this part. Okay. Now let's come to this part. If I take 2x plus 1 and minus ix. Yes. See. 2x plus 1 minus ix. So you are getting minus I. That is you are getting I term. So now I am going to remove this imaginary side. I am not going to write the term imaginary Im. I am going to write down here 2x plus 1 and here what I have? Minus ix. So don't write I. I am not going to write I. What is left now here? Minus x. I hope you are clear. Okay, I'll just do it once again for you. If I take 2x plus 1 and if I multiply with 1 minus 1, 1 minus y, I am not going to get a I term. Here we are going to deal with the imaginary part. So, okay. So we will not get I. So no need to consider this part. If I multiply 2x plus 1 with ix, here I is there. So you have to consider this part. This is an imaginary part. So you have to take 2x plus 1. Don't write I. You have to just write the remaining terms. That is minus x. Okay. Now let us go for the next one. See here. I 2y 1 minus y. So I is there. So I'll write here plus 2y. I don't want to write I. Don't write I. Okay. Just write the terms with it. 2y 1 minus y. Okay. And see here, if I take I into 2y, I into x, what will happen? I into I. I into I means it will turn to be minus 1. So when you get minus 1, that means I term is not present. Okay, children? So only you have two terms for the imaginary part. What are the two terms? 2x plus 1 and ix. Then I into 2y and 1 minus y. So if you just multiply this two pair, you get a imaginary part. And if you multiply this two part, you get a imaginary. Okay. Now let us go for the denominator part. This is 1 minus y plus ix, 1 minus y minus ix. So a plus b into a minus b. What is the formula for a plus b into a minus b? A plus b into a minus b is equal to a square minus b square. What is a plus b into a minus b? A square minus b square. Okay children, let us apply the identity over here. So 1 minus y the whole square minus ix the whole square. This is equal to 0. Okay. 1 minus y the whole square minus ix the whole square is equal to 0. So now what happens? This, when I take this term over here, everything becomes 0. Yes children, so only you have the numerator left out. So 2x plus 1 minus x plus 2y, 1 minus y is equal to 0. So when it goes to this side, it becomes 0. Let's open the bracket. Minus 2x square minus x. 2x into minus x, minus 2x square. 1 into minus x, minus x. 2y minus 2y square is equal to 0. 2x into minus x, minus 2x square. 1 into minus x, minus x. 2y into 1, 2y. 2y into minus y, minus 2y square is equal to 0. Actually, this is not the required answer. It's just we want everything to be in the first sign was different. So you had, that is, we got the same term but with a different sign. So try to change the sign. So you have to just take, change the sign fully. Just I'll multiply by minus 1. So I get here 2x square. So this is plus 2y square. Now this is plus x minus 2y is equal to 0. So that's the required answer. Yes children, so we got the required answer. So we have completed sum number 2. So we just write on the final answer. Therefore, locus is, or locus of z is 2x square plus 2y square plus x minus 2y is equal to 0. So we just got the final answer. So we have completed our sum number 2. I hope you were clear with sum number 2. Okay children. So what was the homework for you? The sum number 4, you have to refer the solved example. Okay children. 2.19. If you refer 2.19, you will get an idea how to complete your sum number 4. And we will be continuing with the remaining sums in the next class.